Yay! Happy Fri-YAY, divas. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are talking about the AIDA model today. So it's Fri-YAY. I'm so happy you're here. We're jumping right into things. So the AIDA model or the AID model is awareness, interest, desire, and action, and sometimes advocacy. We think about advocacy at the bottom. So I have been talking to a lot of my coaching clients recently about this kind of the AIDA model, the AIDA model, because I think it's so important when we're thinking about increasing the work that we're doing in our professionally creative lives. And you heard me talk a couple of weeks ago about my framework for coaching clients, which is offers, clients, and systems. And when we talk about offers and clients and systems, we're talking about what are your verbs, right? Those are your offers. What are the verbs you want to get paid for? And then we talk about your clients, right? Who is paying you to do those things? Who's paying you to do those things regularly, even, right? And then systems are how do we make that happen on a regular basis? Like, how are we making that replicable? How are we making that just work for you so that you're not feeling burned out all the time? And all of that is super, super important. That's why I want to talk about the AIDA model, the AIDA model. And this is obviously this model is not my own. This is a very ubiquitous model. You'll come across this if you've ever done any work around marketing funnels. This is also the model that that everybody talks about for marketing funnels. But I think that it's important for us to talk about it when it comes to the work that you're doing, because it might seem like it's hard to map it on to creative professions, but or like your art life, but it's not. It's totally the same. And I think about this whenever I'm thinking about increasing the number of gigs I want to do or increasing the number of commissions. This is where that comes into effect. So awareness, interest, desire, action, advocacy. So action and advocacy, they usually keep those as the same. So that's why it's AIDA. And when you feel like you're not getting as many offers, like if you're not getting people coming to you and being like, please let me pay you for this thing that you're doing, it's usually because we're not filling up the top of that funnel. If you think about the funnel going this way, right? Awareness, interest, desire, and action. We're wanting all of these eyeballs, or we're wanting all of these people to kind of come in at the top, right? We're trying to put our work out there in a way so that it's gaining more and more awareness. And this is what I want you to take away from that is that when you're at the beginning of any offer, when you're at the beginning of any journey with what you're doing in your professionally creative life, I really want you to think about, like, am I generating awareness? Right? What are all of the ways that I can generate awareness? And it's not just social media, but that's one way, right? So when you're thinking about the things that you're doing, ask yourself, do people know that I do this? Do people know that I do this verb? Like, do they know how to get a hold of me and ask me to do this professionally for them? And that's where I want you to be thinking about awareness, right? So let's take performance as part of this. If I'm thinking about the fact that I want to get more gigs in singing contemporary classical music or experimental music, avant-garde things, then I need to do more work to make sure that my materials are showing up in front of people who are making decisions about that kind of thing. So I need to make videos, make recordings, submit my work to decision makers, whether or not that's through a pitch email or that's through applying for a program, or applying for a series, applying for a residency program, something like that. I want you to be thinking about, like, how often am I pitching myself? How often am I putting myself out there in the world? I think we also went through pitch, submit, apply, ask recently. So if you're thinking about, oh, how do I pitch myself? Find that video, pitch, submit, apply, ask, or you can find it on sybariticsinger.com. And so pitch, submit, apply, ask is about getting yourself ready to putting yourself out in the world more, and putting yourself in front of people who can make decisions about the things that you want them to hire you for. So awareness is at that level where I'm wanting you to think about, am I putting, videos, recordings, applications? Am I talking about what I'm doing? Am I doing, podcast interviews? Am I doing, am I going on radio shows? Am I going on the television, like morning show if I can before a performance? Am I doing more performances in front of people? Am I inviting other decision makers to performances that I'm doing so that they can see me in action and potentially ask me to perform with their ensemble or with their group or whatever? When I have a recording coming out, am I sending it to, am I sending the information to reviewers? Am I sending it to other directors? Am I sending it to people who can put this, in other locations like hubs for information? Like, am I, getting it into libraries of sounds? Am I sending it to music supervisors so they can consider it for sync licensing? Those kinds of things. That's all awareness. That's all awareness level, right? Is like, are you taking your information, taking your expertise, your skills, and putting it in front of enough other people so that they can see what it is that you're doing, that they have a baseline awareness that you exist, right? And then hopefully through the work that you're doing, you're trying to generate interest. So we do this a lot through, going back to our pitch email templates, thinking about what you're doing in that is you are trying to suggest what you do very succinctly, easy to understand, right? And saying, this is a good fit for you because I know these things about you and the business that you run. And so I'm saying, I think we would be a nice fit. Also, I am the most unique fit and the most aligned fit for you because of this, and this reason, right? It's harder to generate interest on their behalf if they know somebody who can do what you do the same way you do it for cheaper and it's closer to them, right? So if you're wanting to build tours, if you're wanting to perform in places where you don't live, right? Remember this, because if they can find somebody to do that gig that lives there, that they don't have to worry about housing or whatever, and that is overall less expensive, right? They're not going to ask you just because you exist. They're going to ask you because the thing that you have, the things that you do are that much more interesting to them and that much more vital to the work that they're doing, that they will take those extra steps. They will pay more. They will work out those logistics to bring you to do it. If your skills and the things that you're bringing to the table can be matched by someone else, then you're not generating the interest. So awareness and interest, right? Desire is that moment. I love talking about this with composers because I go, that moment when people go, we should work together sometime, right? Those are your magic words, right? Magic words. We should work together sometime. Are your magic words, because that is signaling the desire step, right? So that doesn't always mean they're ready to sign the contract, but that means start that conversation, get to the place where you're really talking about, well, would you like to, what would that look like, right? Let's talk about making that a reality and not just something that we're saying to each other because we like each other, right? Or I like the work that you do. But if I'm saying, I would really like to work together sometime, start having the conversation about what would that look like for us to work together, and then take those steps. If you can come to an understanding on things like logistics and financial side, you can come to an agreement on who's responsible for what, then you're ready to go, right? If you can't come to an agreement on some of those things, that just means that then you have to take the next steps. Oh, you don't have the budget for me? That's cool. What are we going to do so that we can do this maybe next season or something like that, right? You're taking it from interest into desire, and the desire is saying, let's work together. You're kind of ticking through all of the kind of details that you need to figure out to say, can we make this happen? And if you get hung up on one, it just means, oh, okay, well, what do we do to solve for that? Rather than I guess it's not going to happen ever. So I really want you to take it to that next step. And then action is that moment where, when we're thinking about this, we're saying let's sign the contract. Let's, commit to me, or I commit to you for this thing, right? The person is the contract is the best way that I can describe it, because it's like, this is the moment where we're both legally agreeing to something, and then you know that it's on to the next step. The advocacy part, this is really important. I also talk about this with my clients quite a bit, which is keeping those relationships. You want those people and they want you to be advocates for each other, so that after your work together, you've had such a good experience all the way through, that that person is going to go, is going to go, oh yeah, you totally have to hire Megan for this thing, because it was so great to work with her, and she'll bring a ton of people to your performance, all whatever it is. That's the kind of thinking that you want to be having on the other side. So making sure that you're not only just having the experience and then never talking to them again, but keeping those relationships strong, so that you both are acting as advocates for each other, so that you continue to have that kind of goodwill and relationship building together. Okay, let's run through it one more time. So attention or awareness, interest, desire, action, right? And then advocacy. So the other thing that I'm thinking about for this is any type of project that you're doing, right? If you're doing, say you're doing a consortium, right? This is the same idea, is that I want you to put that information. You're going to also build, you can build even in the landing pages of what you do, right? So say you have a landing page for your consortium, right? You're also going to build copy that works this way, right? Which is awareness, right? You can start with something like, have you ever felt like it's hard to do all of the commissioning that you'd like to do, right? Did you know that it's possible to band together to make that kind of project happen? And then you're filling this in with like the interest, and I'm embarking on this project right now, and I would love to have you involved, right? You're connecting. So we're kind of moving through awareness, right? Which is you're sharing that there is this thing called a consortium in which you can be a part of commissioning something without having to spend the entire, like you don't have to foot the entire bill, right? The interest being like, this is happening right now. It's for this kind of thing, right? I'm doing a consortium around, around it can be anything, right? But I'm trying to think of something that I don't know that somebody's doing right now, but it's like, but say it's like, trumpet works for beginning trumpet players or something like that. And you're going, oh, I know that this is necessary. So right there, we've got this awareness, we've got interest. Then the desire part, you're saying this, it's easy for you to be a part of this. You can also premiere this kind of stuff. And then you're asking them, where you've given them all of these different things to be aware of, to like generate what their interest is, to get them to feel like, I want that and I want to be a part of this project, right? So you're asking yourself, what are the things that they want? Like if you're the person running the consortium, you're asking, what do the people who are going to buy into this want, so that I can tell them that, so that it generates desire, so that they're ready to take action. So then you follow that up with the call to action. This step is usually one that I find we miss the most often. Is I see people that do a really good job of generating awareness, right? So they're putting things out into the world really regularly. So I'm very aware of like what they do and how they want people to engage with them. And then I'm interested because they're really good at what they do, right? I'm interested, that's awesome. But the desire isn't there, right? The desire, it's not for me, but it's definitely for somebody else. So they might have thought about who their ideal client is and what their needs are. And they said, I'm writing specifically to this person. And that I might not be the ideal client. That doesn't mean that they're doing it wrong. Like, it's just that it's not for me, right? So think about who your ideal client is. Think about the struggles that they have. Think about what would woo them into a project, right? And you're going to have different kinds. You're going to have different kinds of desires, right? That people want to be a part of it. It's kind of like if you've ever written donor stories for individual giving or something like that, or user stories if you're in tech. But you're asking yourself, like, what is it that they really want? See their name like on the, like in big lights on the or heading up the program, right? Sometimes it's that they really just want the outcome of it, but actually their name plastered all over it would actually turn them off a little bit. So you have to kind of ask yourself, okay, I'm going to cater to these things, but then I'm also going to make these things available. So if I have different types of personalities that I'm trying to bring into this offer, this program, this course, whatever it is, then I've thought about that and I'm offering them things that are desirable to them. So then you're ready to make that call to action that, okay, sign up for this course now kind of thing, right? And then following that through. So do this for yourself right now. Ask yourself, like, what are my main offers? Ask yourself, what is my main offer for the next 6 months? Like, what is the thing that I want to get paid for? What is the verb I want to get paid for? Then ask yourself, are people aware that I do this thing, right? Are people aware that this is available, that they can hire me to do this? And then am I generating interest? Am I putting my work out there in a way, is what I'm doing interesting and valuable such that people are going to be compelled by it? And then the desire part, am I thinking about what they need? Am I thinking about what their concerns are? And then am I meeting those? Am I solving for those concerns? Solving for that. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I have to have this. I have to have this in my life, right? And then you make it easy for them to take action. And through all of that, you're building and solidifying your relationship so that you're advocates for each other. So that's it, my dears. The AIDA model. And I would love to hear how you've implemented this for your own projects. Just message me wherever you're watching this and just let me know, which parts do you feel really strong in? Which parts do you feel like you are ready to take more action in? Which parts do you feel like are harder because you're an artist? Which parts do you feel like you definitely know what you're doing, right? Just tell me all. I'm always just curious what you guys think about these things. And so until next time, stay sparkly inside and out. Bye, divas.